Keep it up. Good evening. I'd like to call the Bonita Springs Fire Control and Rescue District August 10th meeting to order. Please stand.
We would like to have a moment of silence for 5 firefighters who lost their life over this past month, and then followed by a prayer. Dear God, we want to give honor to those that have passed away, that have served faithfully as firefighters. Just pray that you will watch over their families and comfort and strengthen them. And Lord, as always, we ask for protection this month for our own firefighters that serve here in Bonita. Lord, we need your grace and your protection. Pray that you'll be with the commissioners and the administrative staff if they make decisions that impact the lives of others. Just give them wisdom. Lord, we thank you for our freedom. We thank you for those who fight for our freedom and protect it each day. Pray that you'll guard and watch over them. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business, need approval of the July 9th, 2015 budget workshop notes and July 13th, 2015 regular board meeting minutes.
So move.
Second that.
Any discussion?
Is that which minutes are you approving?
Both, the budget and the regular meeting.
Regular meeting? Well, I have a question about the regular meeting. If I may.
Okay, sure.
We mentioned on here that you asked me to give a presentation, as I recall, Chairman, by the end of the year. And
No,
you
it was
have scheduled
October.
here for September.
Or it was September. It was September.
I understood you to say to the end of the year, but.
Well, that's the end of our fiscal
you're
year.
talking fiscal year.
End of our fiscal year.
I misunderstood you then. But I won't be ready for this, but I will get you before the end of the year. So.
When you want to pick a, we can discuss that at Commissioner's business, but you want to pick a time that's between now and Commissioner's business so we can schedule it.
Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
I understood you to say by the end of the year.
Well, that's the end of our
Yeah,
end of
I
our fiscal
understand
year,
now.
October.
I didn't get that, but
Okay.
sorry.
Would it be appropriate to change it to fiscal year in the minutes to reflect?
Just in the minutes, I don't see what it says.
Good. We need a motion to postpone.
No, I don't believe we do. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item is the approval of financials. One motion for July 2015 and current expenditures, acknowledgement of financial report, and acknowledgement of wire transfers and transfers between accounts. I need a motion for that.
I'll move to approve. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have any presentations this evening, Chief?
No, sir.
Okay. Under old business, discussion of the station on East Bonita District property.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion.
Pull your,
I'd like to make a motion regarding Fire Station number 6. I'm making the following motion: to authorize the fire chief to proceed immediately with the architects to proceed with the site adaptation and updating of the prototypical fire station plans for the site adjacent to Village Walk to meet the latest Florida Building Code and Fire Code, to update the cost estimate, and then to develop construction drawings and specifications as required to ensure Fire Station 6 being constructed and open for service not later than January the 1st of 2018 and not any earlier than September 2017 to ensure being able to provide timely fire, rescue, first responding medical service to the new developments east of Village Walk and also Village Walk as well. Fire Station number 6 will also provide backup response emergency services to Worthington, Quail West, and Hunters Ridge, just as Fire Station 4 will be the backup responder to Fire Station 6 for Bonita National, Palmyra, San Remo, Village Walk, and the other additional developments to the east.
Need a second?
I second it.
Any discussion?
I will not be voting for this. I think this is premature.
Okay. Any public input? We will do a roll call vote. Commissioner Casilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Forbes,
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy,
Aye.
Commissioner McCourt,
No.
and Commissioner Lohan's and I. Anybody have any other old business they would like to discuss? Then under new business, in your packet, you will see that we have a termination of the declaration of restrictions and obligations related to district-owned property. This is simply the way it's been explained to me, and I read it over. It's simply a housekeeping issue of the property out there, and we just need a motion to terminate that agreement.
I understand our lawyer has
Yes,
agreed
it's
with us.
already, yes, absolutely. It's come through our council, and I believe Brian Ferrer is here if anybody has any questions.
I'll make the motion. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Could you call the roll, please?
Yes.
Aye.
Commissioner Casilla?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
No. Is there going to be any discussion, or you just made the motion and then voted on it?
It's a housekeeping issue. If you have something that you'd like to question,
Well,
absolutely.
it always scares me a little bit when I hear that word housekeeping issue.
Okay.
I guess from the time I spent on city council, I'm very dubious. I'd like to hear from Brian as to why this is needed to be done. I understand what it is. I just
Brian,
don't
could
understand
you
why
come
we
up
need
to the
do it.
podium and give us a little background on this, please? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brian Farrar for the record, BCF Management Group agent addressing ACF 10A LLC. This particular issue was a title issue when the original contract was purchased and sold from the original company that I worked for back in the day, Beach Road Development LLC. There was a maximum and a minimum density associated prior to the zoning approvals that were associated with the properties adjacent. Essentially, with maximum unit density of 1,200 units and a minimum of 1,140 units. When we went to the city council and had all of it approved, there is no minimums required. This title issue was for the adjacent property owner, and there's no minimums involved with zoning, so that's why we're just clearing it up on the title.
Well, let me ask you, would this removing restrictions on our property then allow more density on the rest of the property?
No, there's no density changes, there's no density changes to your property and/or our property that I represent. All it does is get rid of the minimum.
As I recall this, and maybe I'm not recalling it correctly, but as I recall it, there was an overall density requirement on this property. So by removing our requirement, that puts more than in the total for the whole property.
That's actually incorrect, Pat, because there's no density associated with your fire station tract. There's no density relative to that. The density you're referring to relates to the East Bonita Active Adult Zoning, which is 799 units, and then the estates property has 1,200 units, and the furthest project to the east, which is Beach Road Golf Development, they had approximately 1,600 units. in 1601, but that has nothing to do with the fire station property at all.
But wasn't the density assigned to the whole piece of property
On the comprehensive land use plan, there's
Yeah.
a maximum density
for the whole property?
for the overall property.
Which
There
is-
is not a minimum, which is the discussion we're having today.
Okay, I'm not really worried about the minimum. I'm
Well,
sure that
and
they
that's-
will-
and that's the-
That's what
I'm sure
we're,
that they'll
that's
meet
what
that.
this agreement does. It just takes the minimum
That's the point
away.
of today's discussion, is get rid of the minimum. That's all we're doing.
You're raising the minimum?
No, we're getting rid of the minimum, because as you said,
Oh, you're getting rid
there's
of the
no
minimum.
need for a minimum.
Okay,
Exactly.
so
That's
this
all
is-
we're doing.
This is not affecting the maximum then?
No.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nope. And that's it. That's all we're doing.
Okay.
And
Okay,
there's-
you're the
there's-
final, thank you, Brian.
Yep, thank you.
You're the final vote, Commissioner McCourt. You still vote no on that, or you're going to vote yes?
Yes, I will vote no.
Okay. You will vote no?
I'm sorry. I will vote no, because I still think this is premature.
No, this is for what Brian just talked about changing the density, removing the minimum.
Yes, I'm voting no on that.
Okay? Anybody else have any new business? Hearing none, we'll move on to Chief Joe Daigle.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First order of business is, Lisa has reviewed the issue regarding impact fees, and I just wanted to bring you up to speed on where we are in preparation. So Lisa had prepared this document that I'll read. After speaking with Audrey Enos from Lee County Development Services, she explained the county updates the impact fees every 3 years. But due to the economic downturn, they have not acted on it unless approached by the different agencies. The public agencies informed Developmental Services that they would address impact fees. The supervisor of Development Services will approach Lee County for directions to proceed with an impact fee study or not. If the permission is granted, then a kickoff meeting is held with the agencies requesting the study. The consultant will provide a list of information needed to complete the study to each agency. After the study is complete, it will go to the Board of County Commissioners for a vote. According to Audrey Enos, the process will take between 6 and 12 months to complete. Audrey will inform her supervisor that the district will like the impact fees to be evaluated if necessary. As a note, I have spoken with Chief Vanderbrook from Estero, and should the board desire, we are going to bring this up to the Lee County Fire Chiefs Association this Wednesday to see if they have any interest in getting together to provide an impact fee study. Just as we also did a little hypothetical. The impact fees that are brought back to, if they were brought back to the 2012 level of $660 per single-family residence, this would result in an increase, based on Commissioner Forbes' work and his projections, of $603,884 over the next 5 years. However, since the impact fees have been pledged for this station, Station 4, there is no savings in the ad valorem until the note is paid off for Station 4, and the general fund is reimbursed from what we used to build the station. So as of August 15th, 2015, this is a $3,058,073 plus $1 million approximately owed to the general fund, for a total of approximately $4 million. So the final maturity date for that note is August 15th, 2023. So essentially, to give you a shorter version, if we do raise the impact fees, that impact fee money is allotted to go to this station for more rapid payoff of the loan here, prior to it having the ability to use for any other item the district needs.
Chief, do you need a consensus of the board to bring this to the Fire Chiefs Association?
Yes, sir.
How's everybody feel about that? We could look into it?
Yeah, I think we should look into it.
Yep.
I'm for it.
Okay. At least do, move forward with Scott and with the Fire Chiefs Association, and we'll see where, because I'm sure it won't be just us. It'll be everybody, If the move is made, I'm guessing we'll do it in unison.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As an additional note, I would like to remind the commissioners that we have an executive session on Wednesday, August 26th at 3:30. And additionally, there will be a budget workshop at 3 o'clock the following day, Thursday, August 27th. Just to make note of that. That is all I have. But if I may, I'll segue into Assistant Chief DeWitt's report. I wanted to give a little preliminary background of Assistant Chief DeWitt. This week we've been doing some vehicle extrication drills, and Assistant Chief DeWitt is a technical instructor for, we call it VMR, Vehicle Machinery Rescue. He's taught all over the world. Some of his teachings include, I should say country, maybe it was world? Country, okay. He's technical. Some of his instructions have taken place at Fort Benning, Fort Polk, where he trained the military, also Houston Fire Department, Cape Cod Fire Department, Chicago Fire Department, and also the statewide Light Technical Rescue Task Force. So he's pretty much an expert in the subject matter. So I'll let him talk about what we've done recently.
Good evening. Just bring you guys up to speed. Remember last year's budget, we had budgeted for a new set of Hurst tools. We went with the Hurst battery operated called hydraulics. We got those in about a month and a half ago, so we started training the guys on it. And I'm kind of proud of it. What it is that this is the first time in this district's history that we've been able to get, without bringing an outside instructor in, outside fee of the tune of about $8,000 to $10,000 to put this class on. With my credentials I've submitted to the state, they're allowing me to teach the class and then give all the employees that take the class the state credit. So each employee that comes out and does the class will get a 40-hour operations level in vehicle machinery rescue. So we're kind of proud of that. What we're trying to do for the future is all the disciplines, as in rope rescue, confined space, trench rescue, and to name a few of them, we're going to try and get those through the state also, so we can get state credit for. So if these gentlemen want to go on to be a technician level, we won't have to pay for them to go and do it. To redo those operations level, it will be accepted statewide. If they go to any other department, or if they decide to continue on with their education, we don't have to pay for them to go take it by an outside agency. We become that outside agency. So just to segue in, some of these pictures you see here, these pictures you see up here right now, these were done in Fort Benning with the military and the fire department in Fort Benning, just some of the training I did. It's to display a parking garage collapse. You can go to the next one, Frank. This is a guy pinned in there in the parking garage. Next one. This is prior to us doing it. We're going to roll that bus over on top of them. Go ahead. And like I said, and here's the military along with the fire department for a disaster cutting through the bottom of that bus itself. Now the next ones you'll see from this point, this is what we did here. And all the equipment you see that we're using here with the pink straps and the hydraulic tools are all things that we currently own right now and we use on a daily basis on our squad, on our squad 21. Go ahead, Frank. This is any call that we may have in the district, and here it is. We're doing some instruction and getting some hands-on with the tools. So this is simulating any type of vehicle accident we may run into. With those pink straps, what we're doing is trying to minimize the entire car from moving. It's what we call marrying the cars together. So historically, that bottom car the tires would be flattened and it would be on some type of cribbing so it wouldn't move. And this is two reasons. One, for safety of the patient, because if your spine moves any little bit, if it's compromised, you can do damage. The other one is if we have to climb on top of that car to do any type of rescue, we don't want it moving for our safety also. Again, just from different angles here, this is a C-shift. As you see, the hoods, the roof of the car has been pinned in there, and they're going to have to take that whole entire hood off. What we say in vehicle extrication is you're not pulling that patient out of the car. You're actually removing the pieces of metal away from the car itself into the patient. Go ahead. And that's just an upward view of it. And again, all the equipment you see laying out there, the straps, the tools, the hydraulic tools, and everything you see that they're using is stuff that we currently own right now. So we didn't have to go out and buy or get anything new. And I think that's about it. This is another scenario. I put those tubes on there. Is the actual, that was to simulate a car into the side of a building, and they had to tunnel through the back of those pipes. You see were concrete pipes that we simulated. So you couldn't just make a normal, hey, let's pop as we would call it, pop the door and make entry. This car right here, they had to go through the trunk, tunnel through the trunk and remove and get the patient out from going through the trunk itself. Different techniques that we have used. And this one, like I said, this is 3 different vehicles here, and the dumpster simulated a wall, so you could only make entry on one side. So just making it a little bit more difficult than your normal, everyday run-of-the-mill, hey, let's run out there and pop a door open. Because we can do that on a daily basis. It's the technical side of it that makes it a little bit more harder to do and a little bit more difficult, so that's why they have to do it. So, like I said, just in closing, this is what we've done for the last 2 weeks. We've rented a heavy machinery so we can simulate all this that you see here with what we had before. Just doing it with either a brush truck or a pair of jacks, we wouldn't be able to do it. So the training myself, I think, is invaluable. I've heard nothing but great comments from it, and it wasn't just because I was teaching it either. So we're going to continue this on throughout the year, and hopefully we can get the state to okay all the classes that we teach here of this quality and of this standard for the future. So thank you guys very much.
Thanks, you.
Any
Mr.
questions?
Chairman?
I'm sorry. Any questions?
I would like to, first of all, congratulate Assistant Chief DeWitt for his efforts and his training, and thank him for the savings to the district.
Thank you.
Ditto.
I did want to mention that some of the new tools that we purchased are they're wireless and they run by batteries. And one really important aspect of this is the tools that we currently owned do not cut a lot of the new metals of the new types of cars. Specifically here in Bonita Springs, we have a lot of new style cars, BMWs, Mercedes, Lexuses, even Chevys and Fords that are coming out utilizing up what they call boron steel and these high tensile strength steels that our tools are incapable of cutting. These new tools are capable of cutting those types of materials. And typically we don't determine what kind of tools we need. That's determined by the manufacturers who manufacture the things that we're going to have to work on in the field. So that's one of the reasons why we have purchased the new tools, is to be able to meet the demands of the new technology.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Deputy Chief Giuliano.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to start off tonight with a rope rescue call. That it wasn't a rope rescue, it was a rope recovery, I guess. Actually, it was last month, right before the board meeting, we had an incident, and we had to run to, and we came to the board meeting later, and we had a couple pictures. It was an individual that was not a pleasant scene. He had hung himself from the new Pass Bridge, and he was dangling about, 25 feet, 30 feet, maybe below the bridge. So we had to go out there, and like Greg is saying, Chief DeWitt is saying, about how we have to know rope rescue and all these other things. This was a technical rescue that we had to get this individual down off the bridge and do it kind of delicately. There's our boats underneath, of course, sheriff's there, there's a few others. That's us on top of the bridge looking over with the sheriff's deputies. It was a crime scene, so we had to kind of keep everything in order. Just keep flipping through, Greg, and I'll just, we're putting, I had a plan A and a plan B. The plan A was to lower the gentleman down to the boats below. The plan B would be to lower a rescuer down to the individual. So I had them get their gear on in case we went to plan B, because it takes a little while to get the harnesses on. We went with plan A right there. We're hooking up a Gibbs Ascender. It's a device that you can use to actually climb ropes. In this case, we attached it to the individual's rope. We brought our special operations vehicle, and on the side of that vehicle, we have a built-in anchor. So we put an anchor point on the side of the vehicle there. And we put an anchor, and we're putting a ladder rack on there. Kind of funny there. You see the ladder laying against the vehicle. I was looking at the pictures later, and I said, "What's the ladder doing there?" And they said, hey, would you want to use an 8 plate? And I said, no, use a ladder. And the guys, always are Johnny on the spot. So someone ran and got a ladder. So when I was talking about a ladder plate, was a piece of hardware that's in the bag there. It's a different kind of a ladder. Anyway, the guys are great because they'll just run and get whatever you need. So we rigged it up, and we decided to lower them down. And here we're getting ready to cut the rope. And there is on the side there. That's to keep the rope from chafing. It's a roller. Put that on there. And we've got the guys from Fort Myers Beach were there also because it's pretty close to their district, so they responded as well as usual. What I did was I had them guys pull up on the rope as I cut it, and then we lowered the rope gently because we were worried about the individual hanging there. We didn't want to lose them. And then if he would have went into the water, it would have been just a nightmare scenario for everybody. So that was it. We lowered them down. Everything was good. We lowered them right onto the fire rescue boat. They were able to hold station below the bridge. We lowered the individual down. As he got close enough, the guys reached up with a boat hook, essentially, and pulled him onto the boat as we laid him down. So that was that. Then the next one is, it's been in the news, the kitty rescue. There's our kitty cats. I guess it was Sunday morning. The call came in as a alarm activation. When the guys got there, there was actually food burning on the stove. The house had filled with smoke. What the guys did, they went there and everything was fine, but they got the fan set up and cleaned out the apartment, and there were 7 little baby kitties there. That's firefighter Rakia. He's giving them some oxygen, and he saved the kitties. The mom was just fine. Everybody wants to know about the mom. The mom was just fine. The next thing I want to do is a quick 5-minute video. And Chief DeWitt's been out there with our extricating and training with, pin ends and things like that. This is a fire department in Oregon, and I found this online. These guys do a real good job of teaching people, citizens, on what we do. So I thought I'd show this one, and this is a video of what we do and what they do, which is essentially the same thing as we do, about how to pin ends and how many firefighters you need and how to use them. Go ahead, Greg, if you don't mind. A lot of people think we're something different going on here in this area. We do the same as they do there and everywhere else in the country. We all follow NFPA National Standard 1710, which dictates exactly how we do everything.
In Oregon alone, there are about 1.5 vehicles per person. That's over 7.5 million vehicles.
As you all know, we have I-75 running through our community and several main highways. We get several pin-ins a year.
Firefighters respond to all emergencies when called upon, including vehicle collisions.
You notice the medics standing back there? They don't have the gear or the training we have. When the medics arrive, they stand what we call in a cold zone, which means they're out of the area where the action's happening, until we can get them the patient. They can't do any patient, they can't give them any kind of training, I'm not training, but they can't help them at all until we bring them to them. Pin in will respond an engine, the heavy rescue, a command vehicle, and Lee County will send an ambulance.
The first arriving company officer gives an initial size up of the scene as other vehicles arrive.
Looks like we have heavy damage. Appears we have one occupant still inside.
The collision scene is now surrounded by many emergency vehicles. This allows responders to simultaneously treat the patient's medical needs, extricate them from a trapped position, monitor hazards such as downed power lines, traffic, and fire, and get them ready for transport to the hospital emergency room.
A lot of people don't understand why there's so many people on some of these scenes. We've actually had citizens in our community out there by the beach screaming at us that we're wasting taxpayers' money as we were extricating patients from a pinned-in vehicle one time. Kind of comical.
Once the vehicle is stable, a firefighter paramedic enters to help the patient and will stay by their side throughout the
And they'll start treating that patient, if whatever they can do inside.
Battery cables are disconnected to prevent airbags from accidentally exploding or power seat belts from engaging. In addition, power tools may be used to create access for patient extrication. In many cases, the vehicle's roof is removed. Following that, doors might need to be removed. And if the patient's legs are pinned, the dash is lifted.
Our firefighters are experts at this. We train all the time on this kind of rescue. You'll notice the firefighters are starting to treat the patient.
Firefighters now have safe access.
That's why we have paramedics on scene, and their EMTs will start treating the patient right away.
Out of the way, they're able to keep the patient's spine in line as they lift, preventing further injury. Once the person is out, they're safely secured and transported by ambulance or lifeline helicopter.
There again, there's your paramedic. They don't have bunker gear on. They're just waiting.
We just never know. Every single time we go out on a call, it's different. The scenario changes. So we always have to be thinking about, well, how we're going to approach this scene. What kind of safety hazards are there? And obviously, you know, what's going to be the best way to get this person out of the vehicle in a safe way?
Every collision is different. Some vehicles may be on their top. Others may involve multiple vehicles with many patients. Such situations require numerous tasks to be performed at the same time to quickly remove, stabilize, and transport the injured. Regardless of the collision, TVF&R responders will always work hard to ensure the best possible outcome in a tragic situation.
Now, people say, well, that's not here, but I've got a few pictures that look exactly like some of the pictures we've seen there that are all local. If you can bring them up, Craig. These are Bonita Springs. These happen all the time. And some of these, you'll look similar to the pictures we've seen from that video. There's our special operations vehicle. Notice how many people we have on these things. All this is going on simultaneously. Same thing, we're pulling the guy up out of the roof, and he's up on a backboard there. We're keeping his spine straight and lined. I was on this call. There's blood on that seat there. You were on that call too? Yep. See that cool guy in the white hat up there? That's me. That's my backside behind the pole there. That was on Lime Street, right around the corner here. That looks a lot like one of those other pictures, too. You see again, you see the guy standing back there in his vest on? He's a paramedic. He's waiting for us to bring the patient to him. Oh, those are something else, Greg. So anyway, that's just what we do here, and we have to train, use our equipment. The vehicles are continually making them safer and safer and safer for the occupants of the vehicle, which makes it harder and harder and harder for us to cut into them and things like that. We always have to continuously, retrain ourselves. We even have apps on our phones that, because you have all these electrical vehicles now, you put in your app, you put in the kind of vehicle it is, and it'll tell you where all the juice is running through. So you don't want to cut into one of them cables, you'll kill yourself. So it gets harder and harder all the time. But anyway, we do a good job. Thank you. Any questions, anybody? Thank you very much.
Nice job, thanks. Deputy Chief Rich Scott.
I don't have anything, sir.
Okay. Local 3444. Commissioner's business. Start with Commissioner McCourt. You have anything?
No.
Okay. Commissioner McCourt?
Not tonight.
Commissioner Forbes?
Yes, I've been working with the city determining what kind of additional ad valorem we would be collecting west of I-75. We've looked at what you'd call new money or new ad valorem will be east of Village Walk, and that showed us that we had enough money to do what we passed tonight. I've gotten a lot of information from the city. I'm not yet finished. In fact, I just got additional information Friday. But there is going to be significant additional ad valorem over the next 5 years across the city, and I'm excluding what I'd call commercial. As an example, right now in for building permitting, there's 2 towers. One is being built in Bonita Bay, and the other one is being built in Pelican Landing Colony area. Between those 2 towers, there will be something like 186 more units. The one up in the Pelican Bay area is 110. The one down in Bonita Bay is 76 plus 3 guest units. Those units themselves will produce upwards in the neighborhood of $1 million a year, what you call new ad valorem money, because of the priciness of the units. They're going to be very expensive, and the higher you go in the building, the more money they cost. There's also, excluding new homes, there's at least 3 or 4 new projects like the American Homes. There's that one, which actually just got its certificate of occupancy. So what it is assessed at will be actually new money starting. We get part of it would be in the tax roll for this year. And next year you'd have the full thing. But in addition to that, they've got additional units approved for another phase. There's another big development like that going to be built where the Ship restaurant is. So there's at least close to 800 home sites that have already been permitted, meaning that all they have to do is build them. And there's a whole bunch of others. There's somewhere another 500-600 homes that would be built in homes on home sites that are already zoned correctly, but they've not requested development orders. So we'll be getting more information on that either by the budget workshop or in September. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Casilla?
I have nothing.
I have nothing. Any public input this evening?
Yes, Alex Grant, 11851 East Cherry Street in Bonita Springs. 2 items. One, I took the liberty of looking at what the effect of the pension plan would be from 2016 to 2032 based on retirement of at least 5 years in the drop program, and if somebody retires from the drop program, let's say before the drop program, after 27 years of service, and then goes on the drop program, and his average retirement, his average salary would be, let's say, $94,000 before he goes on the drop program, and assuming a 10% increase a year for 5 years, I gave, this is the numbers. If you add 3% per year, you'd be looking at close to $207,150, and possibly even higher than that for after 17 years of being on full retirement. So that I just wanted to inform.
Did you say you assumed a 10% a year increase of
that's what I was
individuals?
assuming. If he
Where did that
retires at
assumption?
94%.
Where did that assumption come from of a 10% a year?
Well,
I'm
the
curious.
5% would be just from regular cost of living.
No, that's not at all the case.
Anyway, that was when I had assumed if you started at $125,000 to reach the $207,000 mark, as an example. The next item I had was the City of Bonita Springs just recently, I believe Commissioner Forbes was there. They did according to, from what I understand, there's an auditor selection law that's required to have I believe, a subcommittee.
Excuse me, Alex, you're at 3 minutes now, so please.
Okay, so anyway, I've got the one page from the state statutes, 218.391. So that's for the board.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any further public input? Motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Thank you for coming.